So another method that I want us to look at is by factoring with the difference of squares method. So we're going to start with the binomial t squared minus 36. One thing that you will notice as we factor is that the number of terms often determines which method of factoring we use. If there are 3 terms, we can do reverse FOIL or bottoms up. If there are 2 terms, we can do difference of squares, and we'll have a couple other methods, sum of cubes and difference of cubes, that we'll talk about shortly. So with the difference of squares method, we are going to be factoring this, still looking for the greatest common factor, but in this case we don't have one. So in the difference of squares, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to factor in 2 binomials. Those binomials are exactly the same except for that sign in the middle. Now, the first term in both of those binomials is whatever will multiply times itself to give you the first term. So we're wanting to know this number times this number should equal this number. And so in this case, t times t will give us t squared. Now, the second term is going to consist of 2 numbers that multiply times itself to give you the 36. And so hopefully you know that 36 is a perfect square. It's 6 times 6. So our second term in each binomial should be a 6. That is our final answer. There's nothing else we can do with that. That is factored completely. Anytime you factor a difference of squares, you will have 2 binomials that are exactly the same except for their sign in the middle. So I want us to look at another one. This time we've got 16x squared minus 25y squared. And again, because the first term consists of all perfect squares. 16 is a perfect square, x squared is a perfect square. Same thing with 25. 25 is a perfect square, and the y squared is a perfect square. This is truly a difference of 2 perfect squares. And so it again is going to factor into these 2 binomials. One's a positive and one's a negative. And again, this first term in each of these are going to be numbers that multiply, or terms that multiply together to give us 16x squared. Well, again, if you know that 16 is 4 times 4, then you probably know that 4x times 4x gives us 16x squared. With the second term, kind of the same thing. 2 things that multiply to give us 25y squared would be 5y times 5y. And again, we can't factor either of those binomials again. That is our final answer. Just like that.